Fall is all about cozy comforts, and with Hero Bread, you can enjoy all your favorites and still hit your health goals. From breakfast bagels and meal prepped enchiladas to mouth-watering burgers and cheesy noodles. You won't believe Hero Bread's options have 0 to 5 grams net carbs and are high fiber from the taste and texture. And right now, Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use code FALL25 at checkout. That's FALL25 at hero.co. All figures are per serving of Hero Bread. Contains 2 to 18 grams of fat per serving. See the product nutrition panels on hero.co for more information.
Welcome to Growing Your Team, a podcast designed for small business owners seeking to grow their company with the help of employees and contractors. Your time is limited, which means growing and leveraging teams is essential for business success. The Growing Your Team podcast is the place to learn tips and techniques designed to help you know when it's the right time to hire, how to select perfect fit team members, and how to maximize productivity while creating a positive work environment. Drawing from her 10-plus years of leadership and hiring experience, here is your host, Jamie Van Kuyk.
Hello, Jamie Van Kuyk here, and welcome back to the Growing Your Team podcast. Today, we are talking about personality tests and when and how to use them during the hiring process. So, personality tests tend to get a lot of attention in the business world. And I think for the most part, this could be very good attention. Personality tests give you a lot of information. However, personality tests are also a lot of the times not used appropriately. And the hiring process is one of those times where personality tests get used wrong all the time. And while you might have good intentions when you ask candidates to complete the assessments, if you're not using them right, they could be holding you back from getting the best hire for your team. So let's discuss why. First, if you're not familiar with personality tests, let's just talk a little bit about what they are. There are so many different tests out there, but they are typically quicker assessments that tell you things about the candidate, whether, well, mostly their personality, but more kind of sometimes along the lines of work style, habits, how they react to certain things, and different things like that. They can tell you their strengths and maybe where they're not so strong at things. And they can give you some information about a candidate that you might not necessarily be able to uncover completely by asking interview questions, because this is really how that person, it tells you a lot about that person's style. So a lot of people will take personality tests and say, this is the profile for the position that I want, or this is the profile for who I want on my team, who's going to be successful. And that's not always the right thing to do. So the thing you have to know about personality tests is that, and this is something that I just attended a leadership retreat, and they talked about this specifically because we took personality assessments as a part of this leadership retreat, is they say personality test results are about style. They are not about ability. Right? So let me repeat that. Personality tests are about style. They are not about ability. So if you're in the mindset of, I'm going to have someone take this personality test and I'm going to see if they fit the perfect profile for this type of job, you're looking at the results all wrong. Because a personality test is not going to tell you if someone is going to be good at that job because they fit into a certain category or certain things come back. They're going to tell you about their style of doing work. For example, back about 2 years ago, I was helping a company hire for a sales position. They ran a personality test of their one top salesperson. Let me tell you, this team member, because they were already a member of the team, did not have the results of what you would say is your typical salesperson. And if someone was running that personality test to weed out candidates, they would have wet out this candidate. They would have said, nope, this person's not a good candidate. But this person actually produced really well for the company. Why? Because they use their style for them to be successful in the environment so they could sell. The test did not show them their sales ability. It measured their style when it came to sales. My most successful team that I ever managed, when we ran their personality assessments, they were all over the board, which went to show that there was not one personality result that made someone successful at the role, but it was how they used their style that made them successful. And this goes to show why personality tests do provide value, is the fact that they can tell you how to manage that person. They can tell you what it's going to be like to work with that person, but they're not going to tell you if someone's going to be successful. They're not going to tell you if someone can do that role. That's what other parts of the hiring process are for. So I see many people use personality assessments wrong. Not only are they trying to gauge, can this person do the job? They also just use them at wrong times during the hiring process. So when should you use a personality test during the hiring process, if you're going to use them at all? Well, the number one place you shouldn't use them is before you ever speak to a candidate. And yes, I have seen this so many times. I've seen people say, send us, for example, your Enneagram number when you apply for this job. Send us this, send us that. Go take this assessment. No. Don't do that. Why? Well, there's a few reasons. One, if someone hasn't taken that personality assessment before, you're wasting their time, because there's going to be people who apply that you're never going to want to speak with just because on their resume, they don't have the right background. So don't make someone take time if you're never even going to give them an opportunity. Second, as we already talked about, personality assessments don't show you ability. So what use is it for you to get them that early in the process? You haven't talked to them. You don't know their ability. You don't really know anything about them. And the personality test should not be the first thing that you open to learn about them, because you're not going to make good judgments if you do. And last, the personality assessments that you're going to send to all candidates at that stage of the process and have them complete are not going to be very thorough. A lot of the good personality assessments that give you a lot of great, valuable information, you have to pay for. So if you're having them go out and take a free assessment, you're probably getting back very bare bones results, which means not only, one, are you trying to judge them on things that you know nothing about, because once again, it's style, not about how they apply their ability or how they apply that style in the workforce. You're getting very, very basic information. You're not getting anything in depth, which means these tests are not good to evaluate and judge. They are just surface level. They're like making a hiring decision on a resume alone. The resume might have the right words, but it tells you nothing that is good to actually evaluate. When you get a lot of the in-depth tests, it can sometimes pull out that more information and tell you how they apply and tell you certain situations where they succeed and don't succeed. And a lot of the free tests out there don't give you that level. But unless you have a lot of money to waste, you don't have the funds to have people go out there, and everybody and anybody who wants to apply for your job to go out there and take these long, in-depth personality tests that are going to give you a lot of information. So early in the process, not a good place, because either you're going to waste a lot of money or you're not going to get a lot of information. So when should you use them during the process? My suggestion is after you've had at least one conversation with this candidate to determine, are they potentially a fit? Sometimes I say wait until after the second interview, but sometimes I have candidates that want to do it between the first and second interview. And that is fine. You've already had one conversation and now you're trying to learn more. The trick then is, how do you use this information? It should never be the final thing when a candidate takes the personality test assessment and then you say, okay, now we'll see you on day one, or okay, now you didn't get the job. You need to have a conversation with the candidate after they take that personality assessment. And why? Because once again, a personality assessment tells you about their style, not about their ability. A candidate might have learned, because they are aware of certain things in their personality, they might have learned how to navigate that personality item in the workplace. They might have something where they know how to completely kind of shut that down in the workplace, but it comes out 100% at home. So if you're just going to look to say, okay, it says you're a person who tends to be disorganized, and you're just like, okay, cross them off because they're disorganized. No, you want to talk to them. It might very well be asking them a question along the lines of, according to the assessment that we sent you, it shows that you have a tendency to be disorganized. How has being disorganized held you back in your career? And then a follow-up question being, what do you do to ensure deadlines aren't missed? So you can really find out, what do they do to navigate this? Because just because it's something that's come back on the test does not mean it hinders their ability to, for example, meet deadlines or ensure the customer is fully being taken care of or anything like that. So after you get a personality assessment back, you should talk to the candidate so you can dig into what you found. Ask, again, behavioral interview questions. So just as a reminder, behavior interview questions are, tell me about a time when, to really get good examples of how they have navigated this. For example, it could be, tell me about a time when your quick judgments got you into trouble. And then it could be a follow-up of, now tell me about a time when you knew you were making a quick judgment and you were restrained, so the best decision was made. Right? So you can dig in to find out, okay, this is their style, but how do they actually use it in the workforce? Are they, if there's anything that could be construed, if there's anything that could be seen as negative, how do they manage it? So that way they can be successful, and you'll find out, are they the right team member for you? And then lastly, the good thing about personality assessments is they tell you how to manage the team member. Sometimes this will help you figure out, let's say you have two candidates that are great candidates. They seem perfect for the job. You do the personality assessment. One, you say, wow, this person is going to be easy for me to manage. They're going to fit in with my organization, and this is going to be great. And the other person, you look at their personality assessment and you go, okay, compared to my strengths and my abilities in my style, this person is going to take a lot of my time because they're so far off from where I am that I don't know if I can manage that right now. And that's okay. When you run a small business, it's okay to say no because someone is going to be so far different than you that you know it's going to be hard for you to manage and lead that person. If we go back in a few episodes ago, we talked about culture and really hiring for culture fit. It's about knowing what fits into your workplace so that way you can get team members who can be successful and you can be successful leading them. And sometimes personality assessments will help you figure out who will be successful based on your leadership ability. Now, as your business grows, you need to challenge yourself to be able to lead and manage more personality traits and different types of people that don't always react to situations the same way you do, because that's going to be how your business grows and expands and is able to help more people. But at first, it might be easier for you to refine and fully define who you are as a leader when you select people that are easier for you to manage. All right. So personality assessments can give you a lot of great information, but just to remind you one more time, the results are about style. They are not about ability. So do not just look at a personality assessment and make a decision. You need to talk to them and learn about how can they apply that style? What does that style mean for them in the workplace and so forth, so you can really determine if someone will be the right candidate for you. So make sure you use personalities tests wisely and don't fall into the trap of doing them too early in the process and weeding out your perfect fit candidate.
Are you ready to hire a new team member for your business and you want to ensure you hire the person who can succeed in the role, make you happy, and positively impact your bottom line? Then set up time and let's talk, because this is exactly how I help business owners like you. When you go through my hire framework, not only will you learn how to attract candidates who have the passion you desire, but you'll be able to identify and select candidates who have the skills you need and can succeed in the role. Going through this consulting process not only helps you find the right new hire for your current open position, but it teaches you how to repeat this process with every new position you add to your company as it continues to grow. So if you're a small business owner who is ready to hire, has a rough idea of the position you need to add, and you're tired of going through the hiring process only to end up with bad fitting team members, then let's talk. Send me an email at jamie@growingyourteam.com. That's Jamie, Jamie, @growingyourteam.com, or head on over to growingyourteam.com/jumpstart and let's talk about your hiring needs.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Growing Your Team with your host, Jamie Van Kuyk. Be sure to subscribe and head on over to growingyourteam.com to connect, access the show notes, and discover more ways to hire and leverage your perfect fit team.